to Running Geek Girl. My name is Heather and I'm glad you're here today. Thought I would bring you along on my long run today while I talk to you a little bit about what I do during a regular training week. So as you know, right now I am working towards the Little Rock Marathon that's going to be happening in March. But training has been happening for quite a while now in the hopes that I could get into a marathon the first part of 2021. So we're just going to go day by day and I'll tell you what goes into my thought process for planning that day. I've kind of stuck to a fairly similar training schedule for a while and it's been working out really well. So we're going to start with Sunday, but first we're going to go on a little run. Sunday is usually where I kind of just set my intention for the week, and I try to do some recovering from my Saturday long run. So I'll usually keep things to a walk between 5 and 7 miles, and I'll try to get some really good stretching, flexibility, some yoga in that day. It's also the day when I do all my meal preps for the week and get all of my cooking and things all set up in between walking and exercising. So I try to take things as easy as I can on Sunday while still getting some active recovery in. Well, that brings us to Monday. On Mondays, I still try to keep things to a walk, but I'll go for a longer walk than I did on Sunday. If I do 5 or 6 miles on Sunday, I'll try to get to 7.5 on Monday. Also on Mondays, usually around lunchtime, I will do my first strength training session of the week. And usually on Mondays, I will focus on legs and thighs just to kind of build up a bit of strength there. That brings us up to Tuesdays, and that takes me to my first actual run of the week, and I will try to keep it to a 10K. I usually try to make it a progressive run. I'm trying to work on slightly faster splits, but if I'm really just not feeling it that day, I will keep it to at least a 5K, but 10K is normally what I'm aiming for. I will also, before I have a run, have another strength training for the week. Tuesdays, I will typically focus on arms. Now, what do arms have to do with running? Well, believe it or not, it actually has quite a bit. I used to notice, before I incorporated strength training into my runs, that a lot of times after a long run, my arms would be really tired because my arms would be pumping along beside me trying to urge my body forward. When I started adding strength training for my arms, it made that a lot easier, and believe it or not, it did help a lot with the running. Your arms do help propel you forward, especially when you think your legs are too tired to move, because your legs will follow what your arms are doing. So that's why I added that into my training. On Wednesday, it's midweek. I've usually run pretty hard the day before, so again with active recovery, walking at least 10K, and strength training again that day usually focuses on glutes. And I have noticed a big change since I started adding glutes into my strength training rotation, so that's been really helpful. On Thursdays, I alternate between weeks. One week I will do hill repeats, and the next week I will do speed play. So That'll be a lot of fartleks, a lot of acceleration drills, and sometimes I'll turn on Zombies Run, so it'll give me my random times to sprint. Sometimes I'll use the app Apocalypse Survival Training and do a lot of their runs that have a lot of sprint intervals in them. But I will do at least 5 miles of either one, either running up and down hills. I have one hill here that is not as steep, but it's a fairly long hill, and I have another hill here that is not as long, but it's much steeper, so I will switch back and forth between those hills. You'll notice that on Thursdays I do not add strength training into that, and that is because I am short on time on Thursdays. It tends to be fairly busy for me, so I just stick to my 5 miles of either hills or speed training, and we call it good. This brings us up to Friday and Saturday. Friday, I know that I'm going to have a long run session on Saturday, so I try to stay active, but not push it too far so that my legs are fresh when I get up on Saturday. So on Friday, I will again do at least a 10K walk. I'll try to bring the pace down just a tad, just to give myself a little bit of a break. I'll also do a strength training workout that day, and typically on Friday I will work on core. And if you are a runner and you are not regularly trying to strengthen your core, you are missing out, because your core has a lot to do with keeping you upright and moving when the rest of your body is tired. So on Saturday, that is long run day. I have 4 different long runs that I do over the course of 1 month. And all of my long runs are based off of a race specific type of goal. I have 2 goals that I'm working on right now, and they are both endurance based, so they kind of work hand in hand. I am working on being able to run a half marathon with no walk breaks, and I am also marathon training currently. So my first long run of the month will be working towards that half marathon goal. I have been adding 1 mile to the run every month, and I am finally next month at the 13.1 goal, so we will see how that goes. On the second weekend of the month, that is usually going to be some type of training run where I will put in 400 meter runs, 1200 meter runs, acceleration gliders, and when it's all said and done, once I've done all the drills, done a warm up and cool down run to go along with it, then I've usually done about 9 or 10 miles by the end of it. The third long run of the month is focused towards my marathon goal, and I have been adding a mile to that. That is usually a run walk. I tinker around with run walk ratios, with pace, and try to get everything dialed in as much as possible. As of this month, I am up to 18 miles on that long run. I will get up to 22 miles before the date of the marathon. And the last run of the month, which is the run that I'm on today, my last long run, is usually just an easy run, around 10K, and I run just by feel. I walk when I feel like walking, I run when I feel like running. It's pretty much just getting my legs moving, getting my heart pumping. So that's how I structure my long runs over the course of 1 month, and that takes place on Saturday. And because that is the day when my husband is available to help watch the kids, so it gives me extra time out on the road. And that brings us back again to Sunday, where I do recovery walk and start setting my intentions for the week. there is what goes into a training schedule for me during a typical month. If you found this interesting, or if you have any thoughts about it, anything that you'd like to say, then drop a comment down below, or you could give me a big thumbs up. Either one of those is going to help the channel out a lot. Speaking of helping out the channel, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. It really does help more than you know, and it's absolutely free, so you got nothing to lose. Why don't you check me out on social media? You can find me across most platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. All the links are down in the description. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm so glad you were here, and I can't wait to see you next time. Happy running.